What's up, my dudes? Welcome back to PLB Green. Today I'm going to be taking a close look at my rainforest paludarium inside an IKEA cabinet. This has been set up for about a month now, and I'm going to be looking at some of the things that are successful with it and some of the things that I might be changing in the future. I'm also going to be doing some maintenance, a water change, and I'm going to be adding a big old bag of moss to the length of it. Let's get into it. Now, when you add moss to a setup, you want to put it where the water runs or where the moss has access to the water. Now, this system has a rain system to it, so when I connect this plug up here, you'll hear the pump go. And it rains in the back 2/3 of the cabinet. Now, I'm going to leave it running for about 5 minutes. That way, I'll be able to see where the rain trickles down and runs down the log, and that'll give me more of an idea of where I can put the moss. So the rain system's been running for about 5 minutes now, so I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to attempt to take out the log, place it on this table, and that way I'll have better access to it. Careful, careful, careful. Easy. And this is why I wanted the entire paludarium to be on one big removable hardscape. That way it's really easy to maintain the system and make changes. So all of this is looking pretty secure, so I'll lie it flat. Now it's time for a water change. Normally I would use a siphon or a pump for this, but I'm taking my time and going really slowly because there's actually a few fish in here. There's a couple of little white mountain clouds, and I'm just transferring them straight from the bottom into a different holding tank. So here's the length of the branch, and this bag of moss, there's all of this gap here that I really would like to see more green on. This part down here is in the water, so I'm not going to bother with that. That's green. This is actually, the moss is spreading down here, here, and here. So this is the main part I want to focus on, maybe a bit at the top around the bromeliads here as well. But I'll just show you the moss that I collected today. I got two different types, both terrestrial mosses. So I'll just grab out what I collected. That's all of it. So we'll start off with this big piece, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to look. I can see that water has run down here and around here, so I'm going to try and wrap, as long as it has some access to water when the system is on. I'm actually going to wrap it around there like that. Press it down lightly, but thoroughly. Like that. And the trick here is to use some fishing wire. I got some pretty thick fishing wire here. It doesn't need to be this thick, but this will help hold the moss on thoroughly. And once the moss attaches naturally in a few months, I can just cut this string off and the moss will stay on there naturally. So without affecting those orchids, I'm going to start at the top just with a simple knot, and because it's clear you barely see it in the end while the moss is attaching itself to the setup. Double knot, triple, just to secure it on. Cut that excess off. Now, I'm going to very carefully wrap the string around like that. And again, like that. And then one more time. And then I'll tie it off. Just here. Just like you're tying a shoelace. I'm gonna squash my phone. And I'm just going to put a tiny dot of super glue on those two knots. The starting knot and the end knot, just so I know that they are not going to come loose. Cut off the excess. And then I will repeat the process. So those are the two types of moss. I have this kind of finer moss, and then I have this kind of more textured, rougher moss. So I'm going to try some of this finer moss there, and following that water pattern where the water runs, I'm going to trail it down there behind the orchid. And a bit in there. Here. 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 May as well use as much as I can. And these smaller bits I'll try and wedge. So if this string doesn't touch them, it won't matter. Hopefully they won't fall out. Scalpel surgery on my paludarium. Oh, that looks pretty cool. So some more fishing wire. Okay. This wire is so thick, it's so hard to tie off. Okay, that should do it. A little bit of super glue security. Alright, here we go. Careful of my orchids. My precious antique orchids. Oh, I can tie this one off to down here. Super glue security. Like this. Cut off excess. Ding. Here. Ding. And that's all the moss I have. I might add more to it later, but for now, let us put it back into the cabinet. Okay, this is going to be a delicate process. Okay. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Here's the finished product of the whole thing. I think it looks much better. If I can get more moss, and by if I mean when, I think I will put some up around here at the very least, just around this part of the bromeliad here. I'll give you a close-up look, but I think it looks pretty cool. So here's a new mossy section for you. It doesn't look nearly as good on camera as it does in real life, but that's okay. It's pretty mossy now. All the way up. You can kind of see the fishing wire, but as soon as that moss attaches itself, I don't know, maybe 2 months, I'll take that fishing line off and it'll be beautiful. So I'm going to add some more moss just there on that open stretch of bark around the bromeliads. But apart from that, I'm really happy with how this is going. I will turn on the rain system for you and give you a full view of the setup. Thanks for watching PLB Green. See you next time, guys.